Hey there gamers, welcome back to the Board Game Co channel, and today we have a preview of Draconis 8. Well, hey there gamers, welcome back to the Board Game Co channel. It's Professor Meg here, and today we have a preview of Draconis 8. Now, as you can already tell, this is unique and different. So Draconis 8 is going to be a TCG brought to you by Wise Wizard Games, and their Kickstarter link is down below. You can check it out now. And before I jump into anything, there's also a gameplay on the channel that you can see, both the physical version as well as the digital version, that I highly recommend checking out. But that being said, this is a tactical pocket TCG where players are going to be playing head-to-head in a two-player game, placing 7 cards down, and that's it, trying to win different challenges. Now, as I said, there is a physical version as well as a digital version that you are able to play through, and with that, I'm going to use the physical version to walk you through it, and please keep in mind this is all prototype, subject to change, but everything is pretty well polished, and we're going to go over the the physical game first, and then I'll show you a little bit about the app, how you would scan your packs in, and how you can also interact with the AI to be able to play with people when no one's around to play. Now, looking at the table that I have here in front of me, you can see that there are 2 players, the blue and the red player, and each player is going to have a 9-card deck. Now, that deck is going to be constructed of 3 different things, which would be a dragon. You can have 1 dragon available in your deck, which there aren't any currently out, but we're going to go through a few rounds, so you'll see what that looks like. And then you would also have your champions, which is everyone else that is on the board that you're able to be playing with, as well as the terrain, which is what starts the game off. Now, you're going to be playing these cards in a 4x4 grid, creating the shape of the grid as players place their cards, and then you will use that playing 7 cards each, leaving 1 spot empty at the end of the game, and whoever has the most points for each challenge at the end of the game will win. Now, this being a TCG, there are different ways for the players to be able to construct their decks, and the 3 different ways would be either a quick battle, which is just taking 2 different packs and playing them against each other, and that's what you see here, is just 2 packs that were not adjusted. There's also constructed, which is when you would adjust your deck, making it a bit more synergized with all of the different cards and intentionally building it with the cards that you want to be using. And then there's also a 3-pack draft where players will draft between 3 different packs to create their decks using a little bit of that constructed feel, but kind of putting everyone on the same playing field if you have people that are a bit newer or you just need a way to make balanced decks. Now, as I said, we did start mid-game. 2 turns have already been played, and you can tell because each player will play a card, and you can see that there are 2 ownership tiles out here, so that's how many cards have been played currently, and you are playing these to a 4x4 grid. Now, I do have each player's hands showing, but normally you would keep this secret unto yourself, and you would use that information between the 2 cards to decide which one you want to play, because there are a few things that are going to happen once you decide what to do. So we're going to choose for this player over here to choose this card, so they'll put it face down to signify that they're ready, and then this player will choose to use this card. So, in choosing to play those, both players, once they are ready, will reveal the cards that they have chosen, and these yellow numbers up here at the top are the initiative value for the different dragons and champions that you're playing. So we have a 13 compared to a 16, meaning that this card will go first, and the red player is going to get an additional point for taking initiative. So because they are the ones that are going first, they would then get a token put here to add to their point value at the end of the game. These points can be really important because you are in a bit of a disadvantage going first because the other player will be able to react to the card that you played, but these points can never be taken away from you. I'll show you in a moment where these points come from and why the players have them, but they can be taken away. So now, looking at our 4x4 grid, I would be able to place this down here, but that would then lock us into this being the top row and this being the bottom row. Or I could place to either side, or I could take the top row for myself. Now, looking at this card, it has a few different challenge ratings. We have a 1, a 31, and a 42, as well as a special ability showing. This special ability is enforced, meaning that on this wall, you cannot battle it. It's basically a way to stop the challenges from happening. You're able to completely block off an opponent, which can be really strategic to protect that side against something very strong. As such, for example, this 43, however, this is the red player, and the blue player really doesn't have that many strong challenges out right now, so this may be better to leave on an exposed side. But taking a look at this, I think that we are going to choose to place this here as such. So this is going to protect us in the future from anything being placed here. And what you do when you place a card is that you are able to rotate it to any orientation you would like, as long as they are, you know, in place with the different cards. And this is a 42 compared to a 31. So that means that this player is going to win, but for the terrain card, there's actually high ground and low ground as well. The two numbers that are outlined with the thicker border are high ground, and they provide 2 victory points when you're winning. So this player is actually going to get an extra victory point for winning that battle, and they also have it over here for this. Actually, I'm sorry, they do not have it for this because they are not currently winning that battle. There are ways for you to manipulate your cards and bump them and move them around the map, so that could be why this card could be moved, but actually, I believe this card is like this because this card rotated it on them, where they were previously winning, and then it was rotated by this card's ability, so then it was no longer doing so. Alright, so we are going to also put a marker to signify who owns this card, and then after that, this player is going to choose to play their card down. Now, they aren't able to win anything here, and this 31 is too strong. Oh, they do have a 39, so they are able to place a 39. They also have the command ability, and this one is, when played, you can rotate your adjacent champion. So this is a way for them to change the tides of a few things, such as losing at this battle here. So I think what might be best is to put our 1 up against our own card, that way it's a bit protected, and then we will be able to rotate this card so that it's winning against this battle. So we will be able to rotate it. I think the best bet is going to be to rotate it this way, exposing the 17. Now we are still exposing the 2 up here, and a card could be placed up there, but in a future turn, it would be good for the blue player to place a card down in this row to stop that from being able to happen. Now that has been just a single round of the game. After that, each player would draw so that they have 2 cards again in their hand, and then they will make that same choice, choosing between which card they want to play, and when both players are ready, they will compare the different initiatives and then place cards. The player that will always goes first will always take that first initiative point, and then after that, if you move any of the different champions or dragons around, points can change. So as the different challenge ratings change with what is compared to each other, the points can really shift to one team or the other, depending on what the players are doing. Now we did have our dragon come out for the red team, and this is what the dragon would look like. They are able to attack from all 4 corners, and these attacks are definite points. So when you play this, you are able to get the points from that. For example, if this dragon was played here, and right now I am ignoring the challenge ratings, I mean, we could do this just to be a little bit better, but they're currently getting a point for each of these that they would be attacking. This is my points, but we're going to use that for now. But they would get a point for each of those because of that ability. Now, another ability that this current dragon has is rooted, and rooted means that it cannot be moved or rotated regardless of the other player's abilities that they're trying to affect them with. So that's a really great way to kind of lock your character in play, and it also has flight up here. Flight is going to award an additional victory point if you're winning by at least 10 in one of your challenges. So here, where it's 31 to 17, you'd also be getting an additional victory point for winning that challenge. Alright, so now I'm going to go over the rest of the abilities that are in the game, because I think that's what makes it extremely tactical. Not only are you building out this 4x4 grid and making a lot of decisions about not only where to place your different champions and dragons, but also how to counter where your opponent might be placing theirs that might be very detrimental to you. All of these different abilities and how they can affect and manipulate the cards are where you can see a lot of the strategy in the game. So here we have command, and command is an ability that you're able to use either diagonally or orthogonally because you're using it on your own units. So you are able to use this and rotate either a diagonal or orthogonal champion that you own. And this can be really important because you are only doing it for your champions and not your dragons, and that can be very unique for you to decide where to place your dragons and where you can have some different things where you want maneuverability. Now, fear is the opposite of command, and fear, you're going to be able to rotate an orthogonal enemy. So it's going to be a champion, it has to be a champion, but you are able to rotate them as long as they are orthogonal to you. So for example, if the blue player did place this here, they would be able to rotate this if they chose to do so. Now, another strong ability is aura, especially this dragon having aura, but it is, if that particular card is winning at least 2 different challenges, you get 2 additional victory points. Now this is something that can really sway and change in the game, because if this was rotated and then you lost those challenges, you would lose those additional victory points as well, and that's where you could really see the shift and pull and tug of the different points in the game. But aura can be extremely strong if you are using it to be winning at least 2 challenges, because that is 2 extra victory points that you can have, and if you're able to bank a bunch of initiative points on top of that, you're doing pretty well. Now, the sister to fear is confuse, and confuse is the same, where you're able to rotate an opponent's champion. However, you're able to use it diagonally instead. So this is the one that you would use for diagonal, whereas fear is orthogonal, and this is a way that, again, you would be able to maneuver them so that they are losing challenges instead of winning the ones that they previously had. Now, we went over enforced, which is this one here, which is if this was placed up against an enemy, they would not be winning that challenge or losing that challenge. It basically blocks the challenge from happening. And rooted is when you are not able to manipulate that card. But my favorite ability in the game is going to be this one, which is Stomp. Now, Stomp is where rooted becomes very important, because Stomp, you are able to play on top of an opponent's card and then bump it. So, for example, if the red player were the one to be playing this card, they would be able to play this card here on top of this card and then bump it any way that they choose. So they could choose to push it this way and then place their card like this, now winning this challenge here. This wouldn't be the greatest choice because they're losing this challenge, but now you understand for the example that that's a way that you are able to move them around the board, force them to lose challenges, and you have a lot of flexibility with how you choose to then rotate that champion or dragon and then win certain challenges. Now also, as I noted, there's range, so the dragon has it as well as these characters here, and range is that you get an automatic victory point for it targeting an opponent's card. So if this were a blue card, then this red card would be getting 1 victory point for this targeting it. There is no challenge rating compared, you just get the automatic victory point as long as you are lined up with an opponent's card. Now those are the basics on how to play the game, but I do highly suggest checking out our playthrough to see a lot of the strategy, because it is really a push and pull with who is able to place what where, and as the challenges start changing, the victory points can really change and it can become very neck and neck. Now that being said, we are going to go over to the app version for me to show you what you are able to do here. So first things first, we are going to scan in a new pack to our collection. So looking at the main menu here, you're going to go to your collection, and then you can see that we currently have 3 packs, and here is our 4th physical pack that we are now going to scan in. So you're going to select scan codes, and then I'm just going to lift this from the case and slip in my QR code over here. Give it a second. There we go. And you can see that our pack is now loaded. So looking through, we have our terrain card here and then all of our other cards, so you can verify the pack and all of the different things that you have, and then you're able to hit redeem pack. That then goes into your collection and you're able to continue scanning if you had more cards to scan. But then going back to over here, you can see that there are different modes of play. So you're able to play online, play versus the AI, or you're able to play the campaign mode, which is what we're going to do now. So you're able to click on the campaign, and then I'm just going to walk you through how you set this up. So you're able to hit start new campaign, and then you're going to select the pack that you want to play with. So if we wanted to play with that second pack, we would select it here, see all of the cards that we have available, and be able to confirm. And then we would select our difficulty, easy, medium, or hard, so we'll just choose medium and hit confirm, and then you can see here the campaign page. So this is giving you a whole campaign that you are able to play through versus the AI that gives you a challenge, and also at the end of each of these, as you start beating them, you will get rewards where you are upgrading the cards that you're playing with. Now you're upgrading these for the campaign to be able to play through that experience, but it can be fun just to see the escalating cards and how things can change, and you're also making choices as you're doing that, so you have a little bit of agency in what you prefer for your play style as well. Now that is where I am going to stop as well, because if you'd like to see the gameplay in the campaign mode, I actually did do that in our gameplay as well. So you're able to check out that video here on the page, and be sure to check out the Kickstarter link down below for everything that Wise Wizard Games has planned for Draconis 8. As I said, this is a tactical pocket RPG. The cards are small and accessible. It plays very quickly, but it is extremely thinky and strategic, where you're trying to figure out what you want to do. I think there's also a lot of beauty in the constructed form of this game, where you are choosing what cards you want to play with and how they interact best, because as someone who's played a lot of TCGs, I really like when you can hone in on specific abilities that speak to you, and then you can see how they interact with other abilities that can absolutely break them and shut them down. I'm Professor Meg, and this has been a preview of Draconis 8. Thank you all for watching the Board Game Code channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye!